Hi all. So this video will teach you or will discuss with you uh, about data types, okay, which consists of primitives and also references. So let's start. Okay, so first of all, we look at the numerical data types. So there are 6 numerical data types: byte, short, integer, long, float, and double. So these are sample variables of declaration that you can use. Let's say you want to declare integer. So how to declare the integer? Float, long, double, same like the other programming language. So at the time a variable is declared, actually you also can initialize. Initialize in this case to give the value to the variable. So for example, we may initialize the integer variables count and height to 10 and 34. So how to do that? Just declare one variable count here and then assign to integer, and then you just assign the value to the variable that you want to provide. Okay, all right, so just similar to other programming language. Okay, so data type precision. The 6 data types actually differ in the precision of values they can store in memory. So you can look at here: byte, short, integer, long, float, and double. Okay, what are the content, the default value, the minimum value, and the maximum value that you can assign to each of the data type. But usually in programming, in our simple programming in class, we just use either integer, float, or double. Okay, all right, so next let's look at the arithmetic operators. You can manipulate the numbers, okay, by using several arithmetic operators that are available in Java, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, any kind of arithmetic or mathematic operators. So you can look at the Java operators. Okay, you want to do the division, the modular, okay, to get the remainder. Okay, so I think it is similar with other programming language, especially C++. Okay, all right. So next, the precedence rule. So actually, we know all about this, starting from high and low. So we must start with the bracket, okay, followed by the unary operator, multiplicative operator, and additive operator. Okay, so it's similar. Okay, what else? So constants. What is meant by constant? We can change the value of a variable. However, if we don't want to change the value, we can set it as constant, which is a fixed value to the variable. Okay, so Java, if you want to declare a constant value, you can use the reserved word name final. Final to declare the constant. So you need to declare the data type and also give the variable name. So in this case, we usually use the pi, okay, to declare as constant, month in year, or the day, Friday, okay, as a constant, right? Okay, what else? So primitive versus reference. So numerical data are called primitive data types. However, if we use object, it is called as reference data type. Means what? It does not store the value of the data, but it stores the address of the data, which is referred to the memory location where the objects are actually stored. In C++, we refer to reference variables. Okay, but in Java object oriented, we declare it as objects. Okay, so let's look at the declaration and how to assign the value to this primitive and also object. So at the left side, okay, look at A. We declare integer, okay, for first number and also second number. And then first number and second number are assigned a value into it. Okay, equals to 238 and 87 in our code. Okay, and then a variable, actually when you declare the variable first number and second number, these two variables will be allocated a memory into it. Why? Because we assign a value into first number and second number, which is 234 and also 87. So this is what happened inside the memory. Okay, so now we move on to the next one. Assigning numerical data. So integer number, you declare number, and then you give the value number equals to 237. And the next line, you give a new value to that number, which is equals to 35. So what happened in this case? The variable, okay, in A, variable is allocated in memory. Okay, in memory. So first of all, the number stored the value 237. But the last one, the third one, which is C, actually, the value 35 will override the previous values of 237. So the current or the latest value of number stored is 35. Okay, so now we look at how we want to assign the object. Okay, what does the object works when you want to give the value to it? So let's say you have class customer here, and then you create one object for customer, okay, name as customer also. So this customer will refer to the class new customer. And then in C also, the customer also point to the new class, which is new customer. So by default, the second line will be override by the third lines. Okay, so the reference to the new object is assigned to the customer and will be overridden by the third or second customer, which is in third line. All right. Okay, so let's look at another example, having two references to a single object. So you create a class customer. You create two objects here, Clemens and Twin. Okay, and then Clemens referred to the new object customer. Okay, and then Twin is declared and assigned to Clemens. If you look at the right side, yeah. So B, what happened? The reference to the new object is assigned to Clemens. And C, the reference in Clemens is assigned to a customer. Okay. Right. Next, suppose we want to input an age. Okay, so will this work? Okay, so we declare one integer and variable age as integer. So age will refer to what? We want to get the input from the user. Because of we use option pin dot show message dialog here and ask the user to enter the age. So what happened this is it will have a type mismatch or error here. Why? Because actually when you use option pin dot show input dialogs, the input that inserted by the user actually by default will be assigned as string value. So string value cannot be assigned directly to an integer variable. So integer and also string does not match. So we need to do something with it, which is we need to convert or change the value of the input that inserted by the user into integer first. Then we can refer the value to the variable age. Okay, so how to do that? We need to use type conversion, which is known as wrapper classes. Yeah, so wrapper classes are used to perform necessary type conversions. such as to convert string to a numerical value, either string to convert string to such as to integer, to float, to byte, or whatsoever data types that we have. Okay, so let's look at the correct code. For example, just now declare one integer h and one string input str. So we use input str to store the value that entered by the user. Then you need to call the method integer.parseInteger. This is the wrapper class. So inside the wrapper class, you need to call the string that you want to convert. In this case, input str. So when you implement this, the input str that stored the string value, let's say the user entered 12. So the 12 in string format will be converted into integer. Then will be stored into h. Okay. So this slide shows other conversion of method, not only integer. If you want to convert from string to integer, so you need to use the method parseInteger. If long, parse long, float, parse float, and double, parse double. So be careful when you want to use the show input dialog message, because of what? The compiler will assume the input as string. So if you want to convert it, so you need to use what? The suitable wrapper class that meet to your requirement. Okay. Alright. So next part is standard output. So what are the standard output that we can use to display our message, our output that we want to use? So first one is the show message dialog from JOption pane class, and then another one is called as system.out. So in this, you can output multiple lines of text to the standard output window. Okay, so this is an example, a standard output window. Okay. So let's say you implement print method. So when you use system.out.print, it will display at the system. Okay, here. It will display the output at the screen. It's not necessarily the black screen. Sometimes the compiler provide to you a white screen. Depends on the compiler that you use. Okay. So this is the print line method. Instead of print and print line, the differences between print and print line is either you print in the next line or new line, or you print at the same line. Okay. Okay. So I think we need to stop it first. Then we will look at the example of Java application in the next video. Thank you. Bye.